Well, happy off-season race fans. Happy to be here with another fun interview lined up for today. Before we get into that, want to thank the sponsor for these interviews, Mr. Brian Deedy with Shocks by Hammer out of Huron, South Dakota. This is a good time if you're looking to up your shock program, kind of get some stuff fixed up, kind of assess your racing program. Be sure to give him a call. I got to talk with him at the 100, and he's a really busy fellow. So a lot of good quality work. So give him a call. Again, Shocks by Hammer, Brian Deedy. And speaking of Huron, South Dakota, that's where we're going down for our interview today. Mr. Adam Brotherton, driver of the number 14 WISSOTA Midwest Modified. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm good. Glad to be here and glad to have you have me here. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a long time coming, and it almost feels like we should almost be racing. I don't know what the weather's like down where you're at, but where I'm at, it's almost 70 degrees right now.
Yeah, it's awesome out right now. I wish we were still racing. I know it's better than what it was at the Fall Classic, and that was a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like this time of year, like it'll be like 60 degrees one day and then 30 the next. It's just like, oh man, there's no consistency. But we'll take the good weather when we can get it, right?
Absolutely.
Well, for the fans that don't know much about your racing up to this point, give us a rundown of your racing career so far and when you got started.
I started racing go-karts back in like '03, '04. Did that for 8, 9 years, I want to say, something like that. Started racing a B mod in 2011. Yeah, I've been pretty much been doing that ever since. So yeah.
Yeah, and I've learned more about a lot of the drivers that started off in go-karts. I think the Rankies were in go-karts for quite a long time. And I think they mentioned you that you'd be racing up in like Aberdeen or places like that. Where else did you race as a go-kart racer?
Man, go-karts we kind of raced all over the place. Aberdeen, Huron had a track. Miller had a nice little local track there for a while. Brookings. We kind of traveled all over the place, way more than we actually do in the big cars. Like we did a lot of winter racing and stuff where we'd go down south and race like in Kansas City and Wichita, Kansas, and Lincoln, Nebraska, and Waterloo, Iowa. I mean, we did a lot more in karting traveling for sure, but yeah, kind of all over the place, really.
Yeah, and the more I find out about kart racing, there's been a lot of really good drivers that have come from the kart racing background, like yourself. Who else did you get to race with during those days?
Actually, like Cole, me and Cole grew up racing together, like here in Huron, pretty much every weekend. Mikey Nichols, I raced with him quite a bit in karting. He was pretty damn good too. So, um, I don't know. Darren Hoff from Rapid, I didn't really race with him, but he kind of raced around the same time I did in karts. And I don't know, there's a handful of them for sure that were pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to hear, and it makes me kind of jealous that I wish I had like a more of a go-karting background or was able to jump into go-karts around my area. But we had a weird track, and it wasn't really open when I was growing up, and so unfortunately didn't get that opportunity.
Yeah, I know, like in Jamestown there, that track, I almost went there and raced once, and then we never went up there. And I think like up in Glendon, there's a track over there, and we drove all the way up there for a speedway tour race once, and we got there and it rained out, so
Oh
we drove all
shoot.
back home. So uh,
Dang. Yeah, and those days seem like they're way in the past, but ultimately not too far off. And so you've been in the Midwest Mod for the last 10 plus years. What do you enjoy most about that class?
um, honestly, what I like over, and I mean nothing against any of the other classes, but granted, the B mod class, there's a lot of guys out there every weekend, and wherever we go, we're racing 15, 25 cars. But on any given night, I strongly feel like in our class, there's at least, if there's 20 guys that show up, there's 10 of them in there that have a really good shot at winning, or that are going to have a chance at winning. So I just think competitively there's just more guys, you know for the win, I guess you could say, that could have a chance at winning. Nothing against any other class, that's just my own opinion, I guess.
Yep, I totally agree with you. Yeah, everywhere you go, there's usually like 15 to 20 cars and all the features. And yeah, you could pretty much pick at least a handful or a couple of handfuls of people that could come away with the win. And so, yeah, the competition where you're at, especially down in South Dakota, there's a lot of fast drivers. Where do you normally get to race on a weekly basis?
Well, the last handful of years, we mainly just ran like Aberdeen, Miller, and Watertown for the most part. Whenever Huron races, obviously I'm going to race them shows, but for the most part, just them 3 tracks, which for me, really, them like Aberdeen, they're all 3 of them are totally different. Huron or, Miller being basically like a half-mile, pretty good, big size sweeping track, and little tiny water town, 1/4 mile, and Aberdeen kind of being the mixture between them, high bank, little bull ring, totally different from both of them for sure. So kind of get at least a good mix of tracks that we get to race on anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned Huron, obviously. They raced for several years and then kind of went dormant for a couple of years, and they've been doing a handful of races the last couple of years. I guess first question would be like, I guess what was your emotions like when your home track wasn't racing on a weekly basis anymore at first?
Kind of sucks, honestly, because well, anybody that races around here, the track's right there in town. I almost guarantee most of us we drive by the track at least at some point during the day or week or something. I almost guarantee it. So watching it kind of deteriorate over the couple of years where grass started growing up and all that kind of stuff, and you could see through, the gate where we usually pull in onto the track, you could see onto the track and grass growing and stuff on it. So it was kind of sad seeing that. I'm sure that's actually probably what tore Orville up. When you see something or you grow a business for that long or anything, and then you have to drive by to your own business to go to work, and seeing that, I think that would suck anyway. I think so. I think that's why he's doing all these races. He misses that. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I've only been there once. I was there for I think it was the first race back after a few years, and it's a pretty cool place. I mean, it's a spectacle of a track. I mean, I thought like a place like Alexandria was fast, but man, Huron is really fast too.
Huron's big. Yeah, I personally, I mean, a lot of people don't like it. It's a little more hammered down, but it's huge. It's wide. There's so much room to race on. It's usually multiple grooves, multiple lanes. I mean, people talk about it being fast, but like Miller and Aberdeen, I feel like we're going faster there than we are in Huron just because it's so big. But
Mhm.
I don't know. Other people think differently, I guess.
Yeah, I wish I went down there a couple of times. I was planning to go there at the beginning of this last year, and fortunately the late spring kind of wrecked those plans, and it being 4 hours away from me on a Saturday makes it a little bit tougher if I have to be back in Fargo on a Sunday morning. But yeah, it's a really cool place. And like you said, you get to go to a lot of different places around South Dakota, and none of them are like one another. And so you definitely get your experience on different types of tracks.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Well, and it kind of leads into this season that you've had. You've been traveling quite a bit. Seeing you in North Dakota a couple times, up in Jamestown. You checked out Ogilvy for the first time. What was one of the tracks that you checked out for the first time that you really enjoyed?
Well, honestly, the only track this year that I've raced at that I've never raced at was Ogilvy. I've never raced there before, which I mean, I've watched a bunch of your videos, Dirt Race Central. I've watched a lot of video on that place. And I mean, as far as track, well, I mean, even being there, I mean, what a great facility. The people, I mean, the track is, I've never raced on any dirt like that ever before. I mean, phenomenal place, really. I'm crazy. I like Fergus too. I've only been there a couple times. That track's awesome. You mentioned going up to like Jamestown and stuff for the Stampede, which I've done that the last couple of years, and that place is badass too, as far as I'm concerned. The banking, and I mean, getting up on top in Jamestown, there ain't nothing like that as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, all of them are fun. I think any track you're at, I mean, it's going to be fun regardless. So, but yeah, all them tracks are fun.
Yeah, and so kind of like going to Ogilvy for the first time, and you probably like Fergus, you've probably been to the 100 the last couple of years. What's your mindset like when you go to a track for the very first time that you've never raced at?
Well, I get pretty worked up anyway. I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to not have to go through a B main and do any of that. I want to just make the show and not have to worry about nothing. And regardless of what happens in the race, I just want to be in the show right away and not have to worry about nothing. So I don't know. I put a lot of pressure on myself to just make it right out of the heat race. And I don't know, but like I said, I did watch a lot of video. I really had no expectations. I didn't think we'd do as good as we did anyway, but um, I don't know. It is a little nerve wracking not knowing what to do, not knowing how to read the track. When you race like the 3 tracks I do every weekend, you kind of get a good judgment idea on what the track's doing and how to read the track. And I don't know, not going there, I actually really tighten the car up from watching video and everything that I've seen about the place. I really snugged the car up a lot, which the car fired really good. But then after the yellow, I was pretty much dog crap, which you got a good video of that. I pretty much just went backwards. So
Yeah, and I kind of want to try something here real quick, and so I'm going to share my screen here just briefly. Give me a second just to set this all up. Okay, can you see my screen right here?
I can, yeah.
Okay, so this is your onboard from Ogilvy, and I apologize for the quality on the GoPro. This is not one of my best GoPro cameras when I found out throughout the season, because that, depending on the lighting of the track, getting dark, it's hard to get the lighting right. And so guess you started mid-pack and at the Fall Classic in Ogilvy. And so do you have like a typical groove that you try to go to, like high, low, or you were comfortable on one of the grooves on the racetrack?
Well, there was definitely way more up top, like there. If that's what you're talking, there was way more up top, but there wasn't, as far as I'm concerned, I went to the bottom like twice and I had absolutely nothing. There was a lot coming out, but my entry, I couldn't hold the car down there whatsoever the couple times I did go down there. But just going in up top, I could drive in good. The car wouldn't want to rotate at all or want to swing around. So I'd just be like really tight through the center. And man, I couldn't get any rotation whatsoever. So that's just kind of the way she was. She was pretty hammered down up there. I was not expecting that at all.
Well, and kind of one of the things I've noticed, especially at Ogilvy, especially if you're racing on the high side, it looks like I don't know if it's like Fergus where it kind of like pinches down a little bit. It looks like Ogilvy is a little more forgiving. Do you get
Yeah,
pinched into the
definitely.
wall quite a bit at all?
Well, there was quite a few times where you could probably see it on video where guys come up on me and I don't know. I'm sure I was holding everybody up, so I just let them go. I wasn't going to risk doing nothing or anything. But I don't know. Like I said, it's the car fired awesome, and then after that one yellow, it just went dog crap. Which I think a lot of it, like that track is just, it's kind of weird. I feel like you kind of got to drive, like in the 3, you kind of got to drive in more straight and then rotate the car. And I was just trying to like really whip the car in, and nah, it was killing me. Not
Gotcha.
yet. And
Yeah, I
then
thought
just
that
lack
was,
of experience, I'm sure, just not ever racing there, not having any laps. It just kind of part of it, I guess.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I thought that was kind of a little cool thing to kind of show the fans out there, kind of like a little bit of taste of what you experience behind the wheel. And so if
Absolutely.
people saw the other peak of the screen I had the national points up, which you ended up fourth, top 5 in national points. So congratulations on that accomplishment. Was that a
Yeah.
goal that you set at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, actually, the only thing I had set for this year is, since, last year we left out, we got 8th, which was, my only goal last year is I just wanted to finish in the top 10. I wanted to walk across stage at the banquet, grab a trophy and get my picture taken. And, luckily we did that. So moving forward to this year, my only goal is, if we did that, I want to finish at least fifth or better. If we do that, I'm tickled pink, which getting 4th is just that much better. Yeah. I mean, definitely. It was definitely the only thing I wanted this year for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, it got pretty tight, especially around that 3rd to 6th region. I mean, there's a lot of fast cars there, and you all pretty much showed up at the same tracks too.
Well, that was basically the only reason I went to Ogilvy too, is just hoping to. Well, Benson was right behind me, and I didn't want him to gain any points on me or whatever. And that's just kind of how the game goes. And then um, Black Lance, I don't even know where he come from. He was like 6th or 7th, I think, and then he jumped up to 3rd there, which, good for him, I guess. Sucks for me, but
Hey, you got your goal, so that's all that matters too. And
yeah,
so
definitely.
yeah, and you kind of mentioned that you went to like the 100 Stampede. It's kind of interesting to watch like a lot of the drivers, especially like some of the drivers that are on the top uh, of the points. How like some of the special weekends, like they're like on top of their game, they have some good luck, and then other events is just not the best of luck. I can like your WISSOTA 100, man, you're fast, but just no luck whatsoever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just a terrible cheater too. So that's part of it. Yeah, the 100, speaking of that, that was a blast. I had a blast all week at the 100, and we were really fast, and that's the only thing that's made me happy about that. Granted, we didn't make the show or whatever, but knowing how fast we were, anybody that was paying attention, they knew we showed up. Just bad luck and a bad shot too at that. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, what do you do, I guess? But yeah, definitely showed them that you're quick up there too. So, well, before we let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to thank the sponsors, the crew, anyone that helps your racing program out.
Yeah. SA Transportation, Alex, he's been a big help of mine the last couple of years. My boss, Tyler Rapid Lube, he's been a big help of mine the last couple of years. Fair City Auto with Galen, XLX Transportation, Brad Culver, Dixon Oil Recycling with Larry Dixon, Real Estate Connections, Reggie Saucer. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Got to think here for a second. Guns and Ammo, my dad, B&B Auto, Jensen's Feed, my good cousins, Josh, they helped me out quite a bit. AJ and Jimmy at MB Customs. Mike Stearns, he does my lettering for me. He does a lot of shit for me, actually. He's a hell of a guy. Anybody need any graphics, get a hold of Mike. Does a good job. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. A lot of people help me out. JCM Roofing, EB Tiling. Last couple of years have been awesome with people coming forward and helping out our race program. So without them people, for sure. My dad biggestly, without all of his help and his mechanical ability and everything that he does and knows, I mean, my race program would not be anywhere where it is right now without him, for sure. So, I mean, he's the brains, the crew chief, the checkbook, whatever you want to say. I mean, he's everything. So there's no doubt about that. So
yeah, definitely. We all need a crew chief or someone to kind of keep us in line and help us out too. Because
yeah, I'm more or less keeping him in line. So
okay, there you go. Well, any sneak peek on the plans going into 2023 at all? Any big changes that you're looking to make? Or
honestly, no. I'm probably gonna keep my car for another year. It's been pretty good to me here the last handful of months of racing, so I think I'm gonna keep it one more year. And yeah, hopefully all my sponsors come back on board. And yeah, for the most part, I'll probably be doing the same thing. Honestly, I'll say one thing: I'm not going to race for points anywhere next year. I have no intentions of racing any place for points. I want to be able to go out and do more things, I guess. So when them weekends come, I'm not going to go racing. I'm going to go and enjoy time away from the track for sure. It's been a long time since I've really done any of them things. So I'm not going to race for points anywhere. So anybody that was, I guess, worried about anything, don't have to worry about that.
there you go. Well, we'll see. So we'll see what when spring rolls around, who's going to be racing for points or racing a lot throughout the season. And so, but yeah,
I do plan on racing a lot. I will say that I'm going to race a lot. I'm just not going to race anywhere for points. So
there you go. Kind of bounce around a little bit, have a little bit of fun along the way.
absolutely.
Perfect. Well, if you catch Adam next season at the track, be sure to stop by and check him out. I'm not sure if he still has any shirts left, but repping one of his shirts.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I didn't even notice that till now. That's crazy.
Yeah, I kept it a little bit hidden. But I always appreciate you, Adam. It's always fun to talk to you at the racetracks and fun to see you all across the region this summer. And looking forward to seeing you next spring once racing gets started up again.
Heck yeah. Thanks, Mason. Thanks for having me on this. I appreciate the hell out of you, Phil. Always nice talking with you as well. Great time.
Absolutely. Till next time, everyone, take care and enjoy the off season.